Welcome to America News.
At the age of 19, in 1971, I was a San Diego State College student and an activist with a steady part-time job. Occasionally, I also modeled junior wear. One day the modeling agency sent several of us to a San Diego warehouse for a gose that turned out to be a movie audition. We were each asked to read some lines, then walk with a jiggle past the director and others. To my surprise, as I was no actress, I got the part. The film's directors were thrice Oscar-nominated Alexander Grashoff and John Astin, the actor. The movie, Wacky Taxi, was a comedy starring Astin and comedian Alan Sherman, about an impoverished Mexican man's misadventures as an independent cab driver. The stereotypes purveyed in this awful film are a separate scandal. It'd play the part of the receptionist for an unsavory lawyer. It'd say a few words, type a bit, then lean over a file drawer, showing a glimpse of bright-colored panties. I was instructed to return the next day to shoot wearing a tight top, a very short skirt and colorful underpants. I was on my own for wardrobe, and was so nervous and self-conscious that I decided to wear a bikini, not undies, and sheer pantyhose. The next day, I was driven to the set, an office in a seedy downtown building. The atmosphere was friendly. One cameraman immediately nicknamed me Barbie, another proposed I pose nude for an art calendar he was designing. I squirmed, smiled and deflected, as we did back then. Finally filming began. While Astin's character Pepper stared from his waiting room chair, I answered the phone, typed, bent over the file cabinet and then ushered Pepper into the lawyer's office. The scene was filmed from many angles. Then suddenly the director took me aside for words to this effect: "You're doing great, but we've filmed it a few times and I'm just not getting what I need from John. So here's what I'm thinking. What if you take off your panties for this next take? Only John will see. The cameras will be directed at his reaction, not you. It'll make everyone else leave the room. It will just be so great for the film, capturing John's expression." Would that be okay? Flushed, but responded immediately. "No, I couldn't do that. I'm so sorry. Are you sure it would really make the scene? Would really be a surprise? No. I'm sorry, I just can't." Okay, hon, but here's what we'll do. This might work almost as well. I'll go ahead and clear the room anyway, and tell John you agreed. Then, because he thinks it's happening, the camera could still get the reaction. That sound oakum? I guess so. I don't really like everyone thinking, no. We'll clear it up afterward. It's just a trick, and that's how it went. In dead quiet, we filmed the scene one final, excruciating time. I felt both guilty for disappointing the director and humiliated for knowing what Mr. Astin was expecting. Afterward, John Astin was personable and polite. He told me he respected me for not doffing my panties, but, clearly, not enough to object earlier. When filming was done, I declined the cast dinner and was driven back with the crew. There was no place for me in the back seat except on a cameraman's lap, nowhere for his hand but my knee. I didn't fuss. The day was almost over, and I was wearing pantyhose. Not a whiner, I didn't tell the agent. I lost interest in modeling after that. I didn't see the movie or know it had been released until I accidentally found it on the internet 30 years later. The Weinstein scandal made me think about that day. I'd felt, but hadn't recognized, harassment. I wasn't forced to do anything, right? I remember thinking I just wasn't cool or tough enough for that industry. I believed I was treated that way because of the role I played. How ridiculous would a man cast as a doctor be asked to perform surgery? We'd all prefer to be perceived as calm and strong, not as victims. But it's time to stand up to bullying everywhere. Nowhere is power parlayed more insidiously than in the entertainment industry. Nowhere are victims more numerous and desperately invested. I thought my story was old, but, actually, it's semi-old. It could still happen. I'm finally telling my little tale, hoping that it, and thousands of others, will paint the full picture with all its subtle hues. Heard McGee, a Del Mar resident, is a retired music teacher, mother of 4, an occasional contributor to community magazines.